Hey, well, it's the next morning, and I got here a little bit late, but I'm ready to sand this wall. Now, before I sand this wall, I'm telling them we've got to turn the ceiling fan off. They've got some jalousie windows here. We've got to close those. They're closing the doors to the bedrooms. Oh, that's kind of cool. Like that. Here's the bedroom door right here. I kind of like that. That's slick. Okay, and we're closing the bathroom door and the other guest door. We may even cover the couch. We're gonna shut these windows here too. These are called jalousie windows. And you just go like that and close them. Okay, because I don't want any air moving around in here. The idea is when I sand this, I'm gonna try to sand it not really super hard or anything, but then the weight of the dust, I want it to fall down. But if it gets up in the air, if the air is moving around, it's gonna fly around and everywhere in here is gonna get dusty. Just from doing this, you wouldn't believe it until you saw it on your own. That's why I'm trying to give you these tips, okay? So I'm gonna start getting ready to sand this wall. And incidentally, when I'm talking about sanding walls, this is a smooth wall finish on the wall. If this was a light spray texture or something, you could take a sponge and actually wipe it down without sanding it. Did you know that? You could do that and then you wouldn't have to do any sanding at all. But because it's a smooth wall and I'm going to put 2 coats of paint over it, actually they're going to put 1 coat of primer over all the white area and then 2 coats of finish throughout this, okay? I want it to be nice and smooth, so I don't want to just wipe it down with a sponge because I think it's going to get better if I sand it all the way. And I'm going to just lightly sand it, and I've got my paddle sander here. I got it from Home Depot. Okay, and I bought some sanding pads, and the thing on this, there's 25 in here. I didn't need 25, but to buy like 3, you could buy 2 packs of 3 or 2 packs of 5 for the same price or more than 25. So I've got plenty of sanding pads for later on, and I take that, loosen this up, and then it folds over like that. Okay, and I'm just going to use that. All right, let's do it. And incidentally, when I'm talking about sanding walls, this is a smooth wall finish on the wall. If this was a light spray texture or something, you could take a sponge and actually wipe it down without sanding it. Did you know that? You could do that and then you wouldn't have to do any sanding at all. But because it's a smooth wall and I'm going to put 2 coats of paint over it, actually they're going to put 1 coat of primer over all the white area and then 2 coats of finish throughout this, okay? I want it to be nice and smooth, so I don't want to just wipe it down with a sponge because I think it's going to get better if I sand it all the way. And I'm going to just lightly sand it, and I've got my paddle sander here. I got it from Home Depot. Okay, and I bought some sanding pads, and the thing on this, there's 25 in here. I didn't need 25, but to buy like 3, you could buy 2 packs of 3 or 2 packs of 5 for the same price or more than 25. So I've got plenty of sanding pads for later on, and I take that, loosen this up, and then it folds over like that. Okay, and I'm just going to use that. All right, let's do it.
Oh, I didn't know you were filming.
No, I wasn't filming, Mark, but he had some thoughts and ideas. He said, hey, should he bring a shop vac as I'm sanding and take a shop vac and kind of hold it there and try to suck it up? But I'm not quite sure because the shop vac is going to blow air out of the back side of it as well, and that might create more airflow and it might throw up and kick this dust up. And we were going to put some craft paper. This stuff here is I call craft paper, K-R-A-F-T, craft paper. We could put that down, but I didn't put that down when I did the sheetrock. And you know, if we put it down now after everything gets sanded, then you've got to fold that up and throw it away, and that is going to create a dust storm. So I think we're just going to leave it just like this as I sand, and everything's just going to drop down, and then we'll take the vacuum after that and wipe it down and stuff. And incidentally, once you do it, you just have to be careful, because the more you brush it and stuff, it's going to fly up. And then when you get all done, before you start painting, wipe this down with a damp rag or with a sponge to get all the excess, because when you get ready to prime, you don't want to prime over a dusty wall, okay? Because then, does that make sense? If you put primer on there, it's not going to stick as well because you're going to have a dust layer on there, okay? Remember that. Since we're talking about sanding, what kind of grit sandpaper should you use? Now, you can get this in packs, and see, this says 100. Well, they had 120, they had 180 grit. So I thought, middle of the road, I'll get the 100 grit. And like I say, when you sand on it, you just want to sand it not so hard, and try not to sand too much of it. It's not, you don't get it smoother by more sanding, okay? I just want it so it's smooth to the touch, and I'm gonna wear my gloves here too. That way I can rub my hand along the wall and feel where it's smooth and where it's not smooth, and then just take this and brush a little bit more on there, okay? Just be careful when you're sanding. Do a good job. Okay, I'm only gonna run the camera for a little bit because I don't want it to get all dusty, but I took my pad on here. I just folded up the edges on the side because then I can have a strong surface right on the edge, because if not, see, it was like that and I wanted to sand right to the edge. I can't really put any pressure there, can I? So that's just going to kind of float along there. So I kind of fold up the edge, and then I'm just careful when I do it. And I'm not going to do it really super hard. I'm just going to do a little bit. Like that one, that's it. That's all I'm doing on that little one. Now if you have a light, you can shine a light on here. I usually have my construction light here, but I don't have it here today. But you can shine a little light on there and see where you need to sand a little bit more and where you don't. And see, with the air not moving around, most of this dust is just dropping straight down. Now we're going to have some in the air, but I got Marky shining a flashlight for me over here, and that should be good enough with the light. Maybe I wonder if I'll just turn this light on here too. Okay. Just easy pressure on there. And then when I see little lines and stuff, I can just hit it. I don't have to go hog wild and just start going all over tint. I can feel my hand on here. I feel right there. Okay, so I can do it a little bit more. And depending what type of sandpaper you use, the more coarse sandpaper, you're going to throw lines in your mud. Okay, but rest assured, even if you have little hair lines from your sandpaper, once you prime it, you're going to throw material on there. Once you put your 2 coats of finish, you should bridge over anything. But I still try not to sand it too much. Now I can move it over this way, and I'm gonna go down a ways. I'm gonna go at least below where the stove top was, and they might have a stove that goes up above, you know, and have the burners handles on the back. But I'm still gonna go down plenty far. There was a line right there. If you have any long, you know, lines that are stuck up pretty far, you could use your your drywall knife and knock some down, but then sometimes your drywall knife might make another line that you're like, oh brother, I shouldn't have done that. I think you can see all that. Okay. Even strokes, about the same pressure if you can, everywhere. A little spot right there. Now that's gone. With smooth wall, you gotta be really good because there's no texture, there's no spray texture on it, so lots of imperfections will show. But once you get your paint on there too, that's going to cover some stuff. And this is dark paint. And that's probably a good thing, but I'm still going to do a good job of this. And at this point, if you sand everything, if you're not happy with it, you could always put a little bit more mud on the wall, like a tight skim. See, I had that folded up, so now I can get that right in there because I can't get my whole pad in there. And even when you do small little patches, you think, oh, I hardly have to do anything. You still got to blend this in, okay? So still concentrate around the edges. Feel it with your hand. I had one little patch here. They had some brackets on the wall that they took off. That's about all the sanding you have to do. Just don't overdo it. Okay, that looks good. What do you think, Marky?
Looking good from this angle.
You see any other spots? Like I say, don't over sand it. Too much sanding is not really a good thing. As long as you feel it and it feels like a baby's butt, then you know you've got it. Because see, even with my glove on, I mean, you can do it without gloves, but even with the glove, I can feel or not feel any imperfections. And especially with the light, you'd be surprised. Do this without a light and then shine a light on you there and you'll think, my word, I missed here, 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 here. And it's always good to use a construction light. You can get those at the hardware store for usually less than 20 bucks. Okay. I'm looking to see if I see any other ridges on here. Let's just do it once over. That's looking good where the transition is.
Perfect.
Okay. That's looking good. I think we've done it by Joe. Okay, now see, I think that's all I'm gonna do. I see where most of the dust is. Okay, yeah, the counters. See, the dust is all the way over here, even though I did it over there, but it would be worse if we had the light or the fans on, any air conditioning, any windows open, just a window open. You'd be surprised at how much dust will get all over the place because it's just the air is moving around. Okay, I think that's it. All right, hope you learned something. Time to clean up, and I guess I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this yet. He's got a vacuum, and I'm not sure how much that's going to blow around on the outlet of the vacuum. We might wipe this up and then take some rags or something. And when you have it cleaned up and you think it's all clean, don't be too surprised if later on in 15-20 minutes, half hour, you look and you have to wipe it again. You may have to wipe it 3 times because some of this dust is going to get in the air as you sweep it up or whatever you do to clean it, okay? Remember that and you'll be fine. Okay, well see, only a few minutes Mark's been over here cleaning up, and that cleaned up really nice. He's probably gonna have to wipe it down again, and I've encouraged him to wipe this down with a damp rag. Don't wipe too much because you don't want to put any impressions, depressions, impressions, whatever, on your new sheetrock mud, okay? You don't want to make any swirls or anything like that. Just gently wipe it down before you put your primer on. And I'm wondering, you want to really see this after Mark's got all this painted to see how well I did with the patching? I might do that for you too. Just keep watching the video and see. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos. Good job, Marky.